We still got people give anybody some time to get in here. I'm trying to get better at putting notifications out and build it up, as we go. You know, I'm traveled. I'm in California right now.
Oh yeah, what you doing out there?
Just came out here for a little quick visit. I ain't tell Johnny Payton I'm here, so I'm sneaking in and out.
Call him right now.
I gotta hit him up. I'll hit him up.
Let's call right now.
I will hit him up. But yeah, man, everything is good.
Oh, Johnny Payton Jr.
Right. What is this? Good deal on that. What's been going on? Y'all have a good week? Good month?
Man,
I'm breathing. So good.
I'm
Was
tired.
that?
I'm breathing, so I'm good.
Yeah. You tired, E?
I'm tired as hell.
Yeah.
But we're doing all right. Made enough money to pay the rent, so
Yeah.
another month we can move forward.
Right. That's how it is. I heard somebody I heard this. I was just listening to an episode of The Breakfast Club earlier, and this girl's on there crying about how her neighbor had helped her get one of these SBA loans, 75,000 for one and 75,000 for her mom, and now she boohoo crying because they were asking for tax returns, and this is like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I just know. I mean, I felt like she was trying to play it up so envy of somebody them could just offer to throw her some money or whatever.
Mhm.
But I'm like, you know what you was doing, you know you was running a scam, you didn't deserve that money, and now you're talking about how you don't. What was she like? What did y'all? Oh, we paid some things off and we fixed the house up, so you did everything you needed to do, spent the money up. You weren't smart with it. How you run through that much money and don't have anything to try to pay, and it's only been a year. You know what I'm saying? I know it's possible, but you wasn't in the right mindset going into it,
Yeah.
You think you're gonna get away? I mean, like that big chunk of money, $150,000, and you don't even have nothing to make the first payment to start paying it back. So you thought you was free money. That's what you thought.
Right.
I think a lot of people out there are doing that. They're advertising it as like the PPP loans and certain things, and they don't have like a legitimate business or legitimate, we can all, any of us can say we got a business or whatever and start it up, but you have to think about that. Somebody's gonna come asking for that money if it's a loan, especially, maybe a grant, maybe you can get away with certain things, but once you start filing taxes and asking these questions, your name is on paperwork somewhere, and they're gonna track you down.
Yeah, those they made them easy.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of time they needed to be able to process them pretty quick, and like for PPP, if you were like an independent contractor,
Mhm.
like a W-9 type of person, 1099 type of person, then you can apply for it.
Right.
So
Yeah. So just anybody out there, be careful how you're doing it. Thank anybody and everybody for joining in. Make sure you share it on your social media. We can get more people in here, get it going. See. All right, what we gonna dive into first?
Where you want to go?
You want to talk about this the Black Lives Matter lady?
I mean, I look at it. She did exactly what she was supposed to do. She pimped some pain. She did the same thing Al and Jesse been doing for years. Like, I think. I mean, and she had. I mean, it's legitimate. It's just not moral, but it is what it is. I think a lot of. I think if we're still sitting back looking at people like that,
Yeah.
when their business is for us to remain in a certain place, like if they fix the problem, then they'd be out of a job. So they need us. They need us. They need marches. They need us to be in our feelings about a certain situation. So
Right.
she did exactly what she was supposed to do. She did exactly what most nonprofits that bring in a lot of income to it. Like anytime you donate to a nonprofit, or not a nonprofit, but something like that, you don't like even if the Red Cross, if you donate there, UNICEF, you only giving like 1 cent of every dollar, or 2 cents, or 3 cents, or 5 cents. But look at what that CEO makes. The CEO's making, $500,000.
Right.
It's just what it is, just the business of what she was doing. I don't blame her.
Right.
But I don't blame her.
Is what?
I say, is it right? No, based on what she was, what she was out here talking about. But I don't blame. I don't blame her.
I mean, like at the end of the day, how morally, I guess, how should it play out? If you start something and it takes off, and like you're doing, I don't know, if is it better, like what percentage of the good, what percentage of it is, well, how much good is being done compared to buying a $1.5 million house or so, like where do we start crunching the numbers and looking at it?
I mean, I just don't think she was doing anything. Like she could have took that money, or the organization could have took money, started a jobs program, or started some type of, like when I was growing up, we always had a rec we could go to, from being outside or something.
Right.
Came up with a jobs program or something that could say, hey, because I mean, to be honest with you, in this world, you ain't got to go to college no more. You still have a trade and still earn a good living. It's so many could have been done. I don't think we're going to get an immediate change. Just like if we ever get reparations and they send us a check, it ain't going to be no immediate change. We just going to and look cool for a couple months.
Yeah.
She did exactly what she was supposed. And if you looked at what she was talking about, I think the secret to black people getting shit together is having a family, having structure.
Right.
Like we had Jim Crow, we had bullshit in the 30s, and we had family and land and everything.
Yeah.
So BLM comes out and says, hey, I want to get rid of the nuclear family. They're already telling you we're going to get rid of what is really going to fix this thing. These young dudes out here hurting each other. They ain't got no daddy. They ain't got nobody directing them and putting them in the right place.
That's true.
So if the organization is telling you, hey, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to demolish what is going to help you guys as a culture, as a race, and we still be like, oh, we're going to support that, then we're contributing to our own demise. And because we're so emotional, we're not even smart enough to sit back and look and say, no, this ain't it.
Yep.
And just like Jesse, what did Jesse change? Besides getting us, besides pitching us the African American title, what did he really change? What did Al change? What does any of these people change? It's not, and even if you look at the organization now, or all these organizations, what are they getting behind? They're getting behind situations where people have a criminal past, so they might be committing a criminal offense at the time that gets jacked up by the police. We ignore the little kids getting killed. We ignore all these things that are preventable. We look at it as something that's a hot story, we run with it, and because we base everything off emotion, we're like, okay, we're gonna go with that. And then if anybody says, hey man, this don't look right, then they look at you and say, man, you're a coon, and they already push us out the way. So I'm glad that she said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I told you who I was. You still supported me. Now I'm gonna show you who I am. And why they still support BLM? Because if you come and say, nah, this ain't it, then people gonna look at us and be like, oh man, you're a coon.
I mean, after the fact, I think things like that, because of the, you can have the right title, or even just in, some of the times of us being in the military and some of the directives and things that had to come down to where it was, it's kind of like if you put the name Black Lives Matter on it, and after everything else in the world is going on, saying the Ahmaud Arbery's, the George Floyd's, the everything, and then everybody's marching and it's out here, BLM, 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 and it becomes a movement, it becomes a whole movement. And then that part of it is going to continue to grow. So, it's kind of like, you started something good and people are embracing that part of it, that does at the surface have good intentions for people, especially for Black people, because there's so much injustice done to them that part of it can move away from the founder or whoever, you know what I'm saying? Really, I mean, I think the movement is not even in her control anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's not even initially her directive or her thoughts or whatever it might be that she started it. You know, that thing is taking on a life of its own. So now you kind of can move away, you know, it's forgot about that. Hey, she said this and she did this and she did that, you know, at the beginning of it all. So, I mean, I feel like, so now, even if you go back to that, you know, you get called a coon or you get called like, no, I ain't standing for BLM. You know what I'm saying? And so even like somebody gonna be like, how, what? You don't believe Black Lives Matter? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. That is, they're gonna focus on that part of it. Like, no, I'm not saying, you know, it's hard to separate what you're trying to say about it, you know, because if you ain't supporting Black Lives Matter, you can like, oh, I don't support this because of whatever. But in essence, they just gonna focus on you don't support Black Lives Matter. That's it. You know what I'm saying? No matter what the reason is or whatever. And that's why you can get called a coon or like Uncle Tom or whatever it might be, because now it's just you don't support Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? It's a hashtag. It's a thing. I mean, and I was looking up. I mean, like I was looking up. I looked up this thing that says, fact check: is it true that Black Lives Matter wants to abolish the nuclear family? Right? And then it goes on, and it goes this blurb to where it said, here's what they actually said on their website, which notably has since been removed since the page no longer exists. It said, we make our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shifts so they can mother in private even as they participate in public justice work. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and quote unquote villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. So I mean, what do you think? Is that bullshit, or is that really from it, or what?
They said mothers, parents, and children. They didn't say father.
Nothing about fathers, right? Well, you know, they could have said mothers. If you say mothers, parents, you know, that's like still more gearing toward same-sex families, probably. You know what I'm saying? You still said nothing about fathers. You could just say, you can eliminate mothers, just say parents and whoever, right? I mean, I get that. So it's just kind of like, I think it's one of those things of culture today to where people are, you know, it's kind of like being too worried about pronouns or too much accepting of one thing, you know, so you can accept one thing, but not abolish the other. You know, you can start with this staple, you know what I'm saying? Because I also feel that the young men, especially young Black men, need father figures in their life, or need some mentors and need some guidance from older generations, you know, in a positive light. And so if you're kind of tiptoeing around that and hinting at it and really not putting that down at the foundation of it, put it somewhere in there, you know, so that it can continue to thrive and just be there. Because, I mean, you know, this time you said this time around you erased it or you deleted it out of here. So the next time around something else comes out, it's going to be deleted even more and even more and even more, to where it's so far back in history that nobody even remembers that it was even a thing. You know, now it just becomes, oh, Black dads don't care about their kids or whatever.
Even that part about women working double shifts. Well, if there's a father and a husband in the home, she should double shift. Like that right there. That's what fixed the double shifts, not community. You know, I mean, and again, this is just my personal thing. I think, like I said before, when we were in the 30s and the 40s, and we were really, really, really dealing with systematic racism, we were able to, you know, motivate our children to go to school. We were still able to build businesses, buy land. We were still able to do all these things. But now we're in this victim mode where we don't have any accountability to ourselves because
Right.
we can't do something. We just say, well, the system don't allow us to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Point a finger and say, well, this is what, like, there's no fault. Like, even the young lady that got shot like a week and a half ago or whatever.
The 16-year-old.
Yeah, we don't account for it. Because we can just blame something else or somebody else. We don't have any self accountability anymore.
Right.
And that means we can see anybody do anything. And if it goes bad, then we'll be like, well, it still shouldn't have happened. You're still not us, not the person that did something wrong. You're in the wrong. The system's in the wrong. And if we keep doing that and we don't even account, every other group is still pushing hard and doing whatever they got to do to further their group, their race, their culture. We're sitting back saying, oh, we can't do this because of the system or we're waiting. We'll start doing stuff when our reparations come in, when our check come in, and we'll start getting on our feet and doing what we're supposed to. And it ain't gonna work like that. And that's
right.
Stimulus, man. These stimulus, I think it was good to kind of help a while, but I think it's a bad thing because I think we're going into our 5th stimulus,
Mm-hmm.
and they just keep pushing the stimulus down. There's gonna be one group, us, not all of us, of course, but one group of us that's just gonna sit back and wait for our stimulus. We're gonna look up 3 years later. We're going to be stimulus 17.
Right.
And we're not going to be voting for the person or policy. We're going to be voting for stimulus checks.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? I was thinking about this. Like, how do you catch a mouse? You got a mouse in your house. What do?
You show them things, tiny things, nice things.
A little bit of cheese. Put a little bit of cheese on the trap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's what the stimulus, that's what the stimulus is doing. If for those who don't see the bigger picture, who are not thinking futuristically, who aren't thinking about the culture, who aren't really savvy on how things are run, So it's just kind of like appease you with this little bit of this little bit of this little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of go down, come back up. And now, you're dependent on that, anything that just happened in life. You know what I'm saying? You put a little bit you see a stray cat, stray dog in the neighborhood, put a little bit of food out there. You know what I'm saying? They're going to keep coming back to that. And they're never going, next thing you know, if you really wanted to, you could have, then you bring them in, you could train this dog to protect, do whatever. You can train them to do whatever you want to now because you've got them on this regular. You started to feed them, show them a little compassion. Now they know I ain't gotta go out here and hunt no more. You know what I'm saying? He gonna hook me up with a little something.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue, like Stu said, is that we're always looking to point the finger,
mm-hmm.
and we're not taking accountability of, not even just taking accountability. Like, we don't even understand our power, like acknowledging our power. You know what I mean? So like the Black Lives Matter movement, like I don't mind her getting hers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's fine. You put in the work, you do it, but you also have to understand unfortunately, we live by a different set of rules. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be easy for them to dismantle the movement when you start doing things that it ain't even may not even be shady, but appear to be.
Right. The perception of
it. So the way you do it matters. The way you set it up matters, right? But the other thing that bothers me is that you look at a movement that's this big and this global, right? But the basis of it is demands, right? Not actual actions, right? We're still asking the people who have perpetuated the cycle of oppression, right, and systemic racism to change things for us when we could use these sets of infrastructure that we put together to establish, right, and ignite that change ourselves, right? You want change, then I mean the blueprint is set before us for years, right? We need to start being involved in setting up infrastructure and distribution centers for our businesses to grow and scale, right? We need to set up systems to where we're supporting, right, political people that are actually making movements, right, and actually doing things for the community, right? There's that group, what's it called? I think it's like Represent Us or something. They did like a study where it shows that the average constituent, right, doing for their community, right, actually doing things for the community, does nothing for them to get reelected. You know what I mean? Like the more, it's actually the other way around, to where the more you focus on doing for your community, the less likely it is for you to get reelected.
Yeah.
So if we were really about change, then we would be doing things to start, right, and we got to start small, right? Like we talked about last time we talked, or I think Stu's the one that said it, is that like we got to be willing to take the L. Right, we got to be willing to take an L to establish this foundation, so that the next generation can be able to catapult forward based on the foundation that we lay. But we're not doing that, right?
Right.
How much of, you look at things like what is it? We Buy Black, right?
Mm-hmm.
WeBuyBlack.com, right? And it's a great initiative, but they don't have enough distribution to compete.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough distribution to compete, and the prices ain't cheap neither, right?
But when it comes to that, when it also on that same line, you know what I'm saying, as far as we have to take accountability, and we have to understand, and it's said time and time again that we don't support each other in the way that we should. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to, you said there's not enough distribution, but I feel, feel like, okay, so if a person of another culture started off on that same level, they gather the distribution and gather those things because others come in and join the support and grab on, and they got the right connections, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe, and then it could also be the systemic thing to where, that Asian person, that white guy goes and tries to get this loan or tries to get that next, whatever, that break that they need, and they get a yes, they get an okay. But if it was a black man, the red tape is a little bit harder to cut.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Right, that happens to be the case. And it's funny to me, as the more I learn about this money stuff, and the different levels of review, they make it seem like it's like this automated system, but it's not. Right, it's a system of people. Right, and they put all these different, requirements and qualifications to meet a certain, right. But I believe even all those things, to a certain extent, are set up to be a systemic type of thing, because somebody along that line can make exceptions, right? Can choose to make exceptions for what they want to make exceptions for, and you have no clue how it works in that arena because of all the levels of red tape you got to get to. But even as a people, we know this already, right? We already know that this is the problem that we have to overcome.
Right.
But we're not coming together, and we have the money collectively to overcome it, but we're not choosing to do that.
Right. Because have you heard about the bank that who is it? Was it David Banner or Killer Mike? Who started the bank?
Killer Mike.
Okay, and it started, but there's like a waiting list for account. You know what I'm saying? I guess, because the funds and the money to actually be a bank and support this many people isn't there yet, or whatever. I don't know what the holdup is, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to that, it's like, yeah, we know we have to cut through this red tape. So it's kind of like, okay, instead of bumping our head against the same wall, kind of in a sense, not totally break off, but break off, and just start that stream of our own, and become less dependent on these certain things, but that would take, I guess, like as you call the gatekeepers and the people who are as close as through more levels of red tape than the rest of us. Okay, you made it this far, you know what I'm saying? So we trying to do this. So kind of like start, help chip in or do something to start that, and to kind of get this group of people so we can be less dependent upon that system that is built against us anyway.
Yeah, we look at the system, us as a whole. We look at the system and say the system's not fair because of this, and then it seems like we try to take the same path that the individual that the system was built for. Our path is not going to look like that.
We do it.
Me and my wife, we were going through some of her grandfather's stuff, and we found a book with notes in it. And what it was is he used to throw barbecues and get-togethers, and everybody would come over and they would bring money and they would pool the money together. He would write in the book, and we still got this book, and it would put, hey, Sally brought $50 and Jim brought $100. And they would pool their money together, and then they would go and buy properties. They wouldn't go to a bank to get credit or loans. They would have cash and just buy it by themselves because they knew the system was what it was. They knew it was going to be hard for them to even get certain things going through a certain bank or going through a certain organization. So they would take it upon themselves to pool their money together, save it until they found the right property, buy a property, build up, that kind of thing, where we can't always be relying on just going into a bank, getting a loan. And when the bank says, no, man, we didn't build this for you. So no, we can't get so offended. Like if we know what it is, then there's no excuse that we're still getting emotional about what it is.
Right.
We know what it is already. And
we're not doing nothing to change it. Like you can't find, you know how hard it is to find a group of people who's going to come together to do that.
Yeah.
Today.
It's hard
because everybody's looking for that
going on a vacation with you. You know what I'm saying? They'll start off everybody all in, and by the time gets there and the time to go, it's like one or two people.
Yeah, everybody's looking for that quick payday, right? Yeah. And the value, like things we place value in, don't make sense, right? Don't make sense.
That is very true. Everything we place value in things that depreciate, nothing that appreciates.
I mean, I could use my family for example. I mean, you right? A family get together, right? Any average family get together, right? My family's a big family. I'm the youngest of 5. We all got kids, right? I got a couple grandkids. My sister got a grandkid, right? We are at least like 15, 20 deep, right? I like to eat steak, right? The rest of my family like to eat seafood. Right, you spend the amount of money you have to spend for steak, seafood, chicken, hot dogs, and burgers and sides for 15 to 20 people. That's over $1,000, right? That's over $1,000, maybe even 2, right? You start throwing alcohol in the mix, right? That's a grip of money, right? And families do that regularly. And they speak, you know what I mean? They think nothing of that amount of money that goes, right? And I'm not gonna say the waste, right? Because the family get together is nice, but right, that same amount of money,
right. Let's do that with other things.
You can cut back on the amount of food, right? Or you could change the family get-togethers to something, you know, to where you're working to build, but nobody's working to do that, right? Then you have the ego thing, right? Where people have a hard time putting their egos to the side, right, and letting somebody be the lead or choosing one thing, right? Let's say the 3 of us, we got ideas or things that we want to accomplish, right? We would be better served to where 2 of us would be like, all right, I'm gonna put mine to the side for now, so we could work on one and build this one, and then go to the next, right? And then, you know, but what happens is, you know, cats be like, oh, well, I'm gonna just go do my own thing, and you go do your own thing, and all y'all gonna do nothing, right?
Right.
Everybody's coming together to get it done, right? And then the alternative is what, right? Instead of submitting to each other, you go submit to somebody else that you're working for, making pennies, right? And so on and so forth. Like, it's a cycle. I mean, they don't figure it out, right? The masses, right? We're sheep, right? We're sheep, you know. We're sheep. We're a mob, right? People, they like to see the flashy things. They want to get that quick money, you know. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's not even. I think even in what you're saying, you know, you don't have to. You know, you don't necessarily even have to cut out the cookouts, but you can let the same energy that we apply to coming together and eating and doing these things, you know, because I mean, like in some families, I'm not sure about yours, but even this, just aside from the purchase of the food, you know, Black people like to look good. So there's going to be some people who come to that cookout who went out and bought a whole new outfit just for this cookout. You know what I'm saying? Bought a new fresh pair of shoes, this and that, got this, you know, got to get the haircut, the car wash, the outfit, and all that. So that's another whole chunk of money just to show up at the cookout, you know?
Yeah, I'm not saying cut out the cookout. I'm saying just change the objective.
Right. Just keep that energy and apply it in other areas, and then have that same, you know, willingness to participate, you know, on things that are going to build up, you know. And that's kind of like a conversation that I had, you know, with my family when I was at home, you know, and I get real like passionate about it, you know what I'm saying? Because I just see all the potential and all, you know, everything that is there, that, you know, just could be a lot better, you know. So that's in I'm trying to build it up and trying to direct things in that direction, just in that thing, you know, so we can, you know, come together and do a little bit more. Was this video on the Bootstrap Initiative? Is it along those lines? Should I play that?
Which one was that? With Louis
Farrakhan?
Oh yeah, I love that one. Yeah, play that.
You play that one. Hold on.
I submit. Wait.
I'm trying to learn how to do all this stuff and get it together. Let me share it.
I submit. Wait. On one hand, we are winning because every one of these brilliant congresspersons, they represent us. They are brilliant men and women. These are brilliant people in front of us. But what good does it do to have a brilliant head not connected to a black body? I submit that until and unless we as a mass connect with the Congressional Black Caucus and our black leaders connect to the black masses and don't take your eye off the prize, because now you can sit in boardrooms and be media folk now, because little black people marched in the streets and suffered and went to jail to make openings for those of us who sit in leadership. Now we've got to unite at the top and develop strategies to free our people. Otherwise, we will be saying we're winning, but the masses keep losing. So if the masses keep losing, then we can't be winning unless our agenda is personal. We're looking for self-aggrandizement. But if we're looking for the liberation, if we want the liberation of our people, then ain't none of us winning until all of us become winners.
That's real.
Yeah, man. It's 100%. It's 100%.
I submit.
That's 100%, right? And that's, you know, we talked about that a little bit with the whole gatekeeper thing, right? There's such a disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Such a disconnect between the masses and our, you know, our leaders, right? There's a disconnect amongst the leaders themselves. Like, can we even say that we have leaders? Like, can we say that?
We do have leaders because we have individuals that people are following, but I think what would make, if we're looked at as this group of people that are being targeted, then the worst strategy would ever have is to have a leader, have a head, have somebody that if I kill this off, then it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And every little movement we've ever had, that's kind of what happened. I mean, you got to think about like with Martin and everybody else. Like, you know, Martin, where, you know, what happened to Martin happened to Martin, but what happened to all these people on the side? They kind of became part of the system. They saw what it was. They said, I don't want that to be me. They became part of the system.
Right.
Like, I don't. That's the thing, man. I'm in one of these positions, man, where I feel like we have it. The pieces are here, man.
We just gotta put them together.
We
But
just gotta put them together.
Okay,
We just
so
have to do it.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong in that we need something, a movement, right? We need a movement to be the leader, not necessarily one person, right? But before we can even get to that point, that leader always gets, like you said, taken out or moved aside. But yeah, I agree. I believe we have all the pieces too. We got the pieces, we got the knowledge, we got the resources. Right now, more than ever, with technology. But
And then I also think, man, I think we got to take our emotions out of it. Like the people that know where the path is says, hey, come back and tell everybody this is where the path is. But the path ain't gonna be fun. Like the path ain't gonna be better than drinking and partying and getting high. It's gonna be working, it's gonna be sacrificing. That's the path. And a lot of us don't want to take it, man. A lot of us don't. It sounds good, but a lot of us don't want it.
I agree, but that's what, like you said, we get too emotional. But it's hard not to get emotional.
Is it hard? It's possible.
If you're the gatekeeper, if you're the gatekeeper, that leader who's reached a certain level, right, and then you've come back to try to tell them this is the path to take, right, and you know firsthand that it's struggle, right, it's sleepless nights, right, it's lonely days, right, and then you come back, the leader, that person that made it, come back to tell me like, nah, that's some bullshit. We're not even right, because they just want to party. It's hard not to get emotional after what you had to endure to get there. And then the average person is like, nah, I just want to party and smoke and get high and do whatever. When in reality, right, the reality is that in order to get there, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices, right? And you're gonna have to sacrifice these feel-good moments in order to get there.
And a lot of times, maybe the reason that they are opting to just drink and get high and smoke is because everybody who ever talked about anything else either let them down or it didn't go the way it was going to be. It was a scam or something, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it might be, whatever reason, because people, like, a lot of times, just like we say, I think somebody starts, I think a lot of people start off in the right path, but then ego gets in the way. Then, the system starts to give them these little things and they start to feel a little bit of themselves. And then, like, just like with then you go out, I can go out and buy me a $1.5 million house over here and then buy the house over there. And you just forgot about it. So then the people down there who are expecting something to happen, I'm like, man, you know what? I'm just going to drink and smoke, until something comes along to entice, because I think even the person who says that, deep down inside of them, they would like a change. They want to see something change, because I see, like, when we do come together as a people, or when something does just spark that whatever in them, it could be something simple, but the way they join together and the way that it is, like I said, even gang culture, and how it has a rank structure, it has this, it has that, and like just once people get ingrained in it and that leadership in that direction, that is something that our people are drawn to. We do like that. We do appreciate that, but we just have to change the narrative. And a lot of those things started off in a positive way, but ended up getting directed in a different way. And like I said, the whatever, people finding out what they could really do with it along negative lines, and then they keep pumping the gangster movies, you know what I'm saying, and pumping this life, pumping that lifestyle, and glorifying the wrong things toward our people. And the programming is just, they become victim to it. And even for you not to become emotional, like how, even if you try not to be emotional about it, and then the story is, even if say the 16-year-old girl that got shot by the cop, the masses, of black people I was listening to Breakfast Club again, and I heard Charlotte. I think Charlemagne was his outlook on it was it doesn't matter if it's a black person or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was just kind of, no, that's not the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You said it doesn't matter what?
he was just saying, he was saying that, pretty much that if it was a white person, then the person wouldn't have got shot or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He's like, regardless, like the police outlook on it is, hey, if it's a black person, shoot first, ask questions later, so on and so forth. And he's kind of like, it doesn't matter. The details of the case don't matter, and whatever, which was kind of like misguided. And then Envy was telling like his dad was a retired cop, and he was like, like that's what it was. If even if she was the one who got beat up, she was the one who called 911, and she was the one who initially started this, and yes, all these other people out here, and all those details were there when the cops pulled up, and now she's no longer at a disadvantage. She has the weapon in her hand. She's about to stab this girl. What are you supposed to do? People like, oh, shoot her in the leg. Dude. Like, no, that's not. You don't understand. You don't understand the use of force. And like in cases like that, it is the police officer to protect myself and others. You know what I'm saying? If deadly force is being used against myself or someone, I have the right to use deadly force to stop that act. Yeah. And that's why the little girl got shot. And well, he didn't have to shoot her 5 times. He had, that's whatever. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he did what he was told, what he was trained, and what he was taught to do. And that's just the harsh reality of it. Because even then, when you kind of try to explain that to people, and especially as being a black person, they just gonna look at you like, really? You know what I'm saying? Because you're supposed to side with black just because you're black. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. You're supposed to side with this just because of whatever. And we, like I said, it's hard to take emotion out of it. Or even when it's not a good shoot, even when it's a bad shoot, and it's like you up here trying to tell people, hey man, don't be so emotional about it. Don't do this. Don't do this. Let's just do it like this. And then you turn on the news, and another black guy got shot, so on and so forth, so on and whatever. Even though it might be perpetuated by the media or whatever it is, everything that you're trying to build up is going. How you going to explain this to the people? How can you explain this to them to try to win them over and organize them where, okay, let's just handle it like this.
Like Charlemagne, and I've heard multiple people. I've gotten on a couple people's not podcasts, but I've listened to a couple people speak on the thing. How Charlemagne described that, because I was listening to the show too, is exactly how we think. As we say, the cop shouldn't have shot that girl. What nobody's ever asked is, nobody ever looked at a life being saved. Right. Nobody's interview, like I haven't seen one interview of the girl that was saved. One interview. I've heard excuses made for the girl that had a knife that was going to stab the other girl. I've heard excuses made for the guy who was the girl's father that got shot, kicking a girl on the ground. I've seen excuses made for him. What I did not hear is anybody interview the girl that was about to get stabbed. And this is how we have to look at this thing. And this is BLM, this is all this stuff. If we are allowed to see it and feel it, then the system is putting it into our face. What happened, the thing what happened with Trump is they convinced everybody that Trump was the system.
Right.
But the system's not a man. The system is like the system. So if the system allows you to see these things and allow you to be told you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim, it takes an individual hearing something 7 times before it's in their subconscious. And they believe it.
Yeah.
So how many times do they push that to us on a daily basis? We are being programmed. We are being programmed. And anything that we're allowed to see and feel, that somebody approved it and somebody said, okay, that's good.
Right.
The truth of the matter is, like, I've never seen anybody invited to any other groups. I'm not going to say their names, but all the other groups, all the other cultures and races, where do they go to have their meeting to talk about their future? We're the only ones that hold court and say, hey guys, this is our plan. And I love like the Umars and the Tariqs and stuff. But we're the only ones that have these people going, and Umar said, this is what we need to do. And Tariq says, this is what we need to do. And all these people say, this is what we need to do. We never have a meeting behind closed doors and say, this is what we really need to do.
Right.
This is what we need to do. We need to understand that we don't need to have emotion in it. It's business. We also need to understand that everybody ain't going to go.
Right.
Everybody can't go. If you're a detriment to your organization, to your group, to your race, then we got to move you to the side. And every other race understands that but us. Like almost every situation, like police shooting wise, in the last maybe 6 months, we're sitting back and we're like raising hell for individuals that one was out here committing criminal offenses against the system. Two, at the time of that, how many of them really had help? Like the girl that got shot, her father was kicking another girl. So why do we expect anything less than what happened when your example is out there fighting females?
Right.
Even going all the way back to George Floyd, all these people say, "Oh, we love George Floyd. We love George Floyd." He was out there, ain't nobody help him. Like we didn't have that community.
Right.
We need to understand if this is what it is, and I'm not saying the system is like this, but if this is what the system is, then why don't we insulate it ourselves? Why don't we take care like other groups do? Like we were saying earlier, why can't we, like, rather than everybody split off and do their own thing, just like we see the Asians do? They get with each other, they build one up, and then they go to the next person and build them up. Go to the next person, build them up. And we are so emotional, and we have such short-term memory that we don't even see that everybody's using us as a financial base.
Yeah.
Asians come and use us. The Asians come and use us for a financial base.
Mm-hmm.
Arabs, everybody, like you. There's certain places like Michigan and stuff. You go to there's no black gas stations. There's no white gas stations. There's no Asian gas stations. There's Arab gas stations. There's Asian restaurants. They use us as the financial base, which means we have the money. But we've grown comfortable just being consumers and being emotional. And if the system is really what it is, then understand the system. Like I put a message out there. Now I think I even got called a coon on that. But I'm like, if the police is a gang and this is the situation, then why would you call the opposing gang to your house to fix family business? You can't complain if you call on the police over there and when they get there, they do what you think they're going to do anyway.
Right.
Why couldn't you resolve that in the first place? That's the accountability. We have to be accountable to ourselves and fix that. Or
that same conversation.
Yeah, or if this is the system, why don't you learn the system? Because if you understood the system, then you would understand that because she put herself in that position based on the use of force continuum, he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I was having a conversation.
Maybe hard for people to hear, but it's just the truth, you know.
You gotta, on top of that, it's like, what's the alternative solution, right? What's the alternative solution than police, right? Because if it really was an issue, we could do something as simple as community policing, like police your own, take care of your own, right?
I think we can do that.
Your own from having to deal with that in the first place, but we're not willing to do that. I know I ain't fucking with it. Like what? Police our own. We're not going to do that. You know,
right.
What I'm saying?
Like, you will have to, in order to do that now, I believe you're gonna have to do it's gonna come either one or two ways. Either you're gonna have to like coax people into it, or something like that, and just call these meetings and like you said, like 7 times repeat it to them and try to get them to change. But like they've been ingrained in their lifestyle so long that it's not gonna happen overnight. Or you are going to have to, and the quickest, easiest, most drastic way that to get people believing you is you have to pretty much become the police. You know what I'm saying? And put the smack down on the bad elements of the communities. You know what I'm saying? And you have to become that aggressor and look, you ain't gonna do this on my block. You're not gonna do this in my community, and shut it down to where, a lot of people are gonna look at you like, what, like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
I think the only thing we really honestly can do that can actually be substantial and work is go get the babies.
Yeah.
Realize that everybody 16 and above are throwaways.
Yeah.
We just got to chalk it up. Because, I mean, at that point, like, because right now, like, we all have the ability to go out and be a police officer in the civilian world, and the police are police our own. But it's became such bullshit out there. I know I ain't trying to go out there. I ain't trying to worry myself with it. I think we got to save the babies, man. We got to get the kids and convince the kids that it's cool to be like I was talking to my wife, and I was like, let me see the image that black people are. Let me see our image that's been put on daytime television. And you look at the Grammys and you see Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion humping on each other. You look on Jimmy Fallon and you see Pooh Shiesty and Lil Durk performing, what is it? What is that song called? Get It Back in Blood? While I'm robbing you, you need to come back and kill me to get your shit. How is that being shown on television?
Right.
Why are we allowing this narrative to be pushed? I think we have to build what we can build amongst us and understand we got to go get the babies to save our race.
Right.
Just the babies, you make a good point there. You make a huge point, is that the lack of Black-owned media organizations, right? The lack of Black-owned media, like the Black community lives in the media, but does it control the narrative, right? Which leads me to another point, is like, even with the police brutality cases, I feel like we always choose the wrong ones. Like there's legit police brutality cases that could drive change, but we choose the wrong ones to protest for. Like we choose the ones I'm like, you know what I mean? I've been having to talk to people like, did you see it? I'm like, that was a good shoot. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know, just because you don't like how aggressive it was. The funniest conversation to me is like, well, why did they have to choose the gun? Like, because the other person had a weapon. This ain't the movies. This ain't gonna be no knife fight.
But what about I didn't get the details of the one who thought she said she thought it was a taser.
Oh, so that one was Captain Dante. It was a traffic stop, and the dude had a warrant. Traffic stop, and dude had a warrant, right? In the video, at least the piece of the video that I saw was where she was in the process of handcuffing him, and then it was like I guess she was reaching for the handcuffs or something, and he started to resist, tried to jump in the car and drive off. And she's grabbing him, she's like trying to restrain him, and she pulls out the gun, right, claiming that it was a taser. And she, right, when she pulled the trigger, she did say taser, taser, taser before she pulled the trigger. And you could see in the video that she immediately was like, oh shit, I just shot this guy. Right? So was she wrong? Of course she was wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I have so many people like, well, how do you mistake a taser for a gun? I'm like, well, actually, it's not that impossible when you're in the heat of the moment. Like, you know what I mean? You're not looking down to see if you grabbed the right thing. You know what I mean? You grabbed it. It has a handle, pulls the trigger. Like, you know what I mean? You know, I know. Us as security forces, we got to the point where you couldn't have your taser on the same side.
Right, you had to put it
as the firearm. I don't know if other departments, mandate that, but it is not impossible to believe. Right? It is plausible to believe that you mistook that for a taser, right? While tragic, you know what I'm saying? Like, the kid was resisting. You know what I mean? And so while it was wrong, I don't believe that's the case that we should use to try to drive systematic change. It's not a good case.
Right. Or I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, there are elements. You know, it's hard to use certain elements. You know, you don't want to pick and choose what you get out of it. You know what I'm saying? But it's still like, do you think she should be prosecuted or charged?
I think she's gonna get prosecuted and charged because of the climate. I think, well, yeah, I think so because it was a clear mistake. Like
Right.
even when she kind of said like shit, and then she was like, I shot him. So right then it was obvious. Okay, I just made a mistake.
Yeah. Somebody like.
So yeah, I think she's gonna get prosecuted. I think had she not said taser, 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 had she pulled out her gun in the first place, and had she done that while he was driving off, they wouldn't have went there.
Right.
But I think because of the taser, because that kind of showed your intention of you meant to tase him. But I'm not making any excuses, but she was 26 years on the force and she was out there in a patrol car training a new officer.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I heard that, I was like, well, that's like a back office person that's been back office for years.
Yeah.
And when it happens, when you're in the heat of the moment,
right,
your fine motor skills go away. So you go back to your training, but I mean, that's your training, that 1 year, your annual training that you go back to.
If they stuck somebody from back office on flight chief with you for a day, you're like, oh, just sit over there.
And I try to watch what I say so they don't go back and tell the shirt.
No preaching the gospel.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, man. They're like Pete was saying, there's so many cases of police brutality. But there's bad apples everywhere.
Right.
And in long
but I mean,
what are they allowing us to see?
That Chris Rock said, when you come to police and you don't get to be a bad apple. Do you get to be a bad apple? If you know what I'm saying, in certain jobs, you don't get to be that because like at the end of the day, once you choose that career path and once you go through all that academy and you put that badge on and you make these oaths and those are jobs to where, you really are supposed to, to not let yourself go past a certain point. You know what I'm saying? When we say taking emotion out of it, if that cops and everybody else need to be able to take ego and emotion out of what it is and just about business. Yes, you're gonna be nervous. You know what I'm saying? That comes with training. Yes, you're gonna be intimidated sometimes. Yes, you're gonna be, your adrenaline is gonna be pumping and you're gonna have to think on your toes. But it should always be, in that business. This is what it is. These are the facts. This is what's going on. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to react to this. And always really trying to keep it at a level of where you can control it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like in a lot of these situations, I know every precinct and every district doesn't have the same training, but a lot of these situations, like the way they are approaching things. And the way they go about it from the time, as a cop, from the time you would decide to stop somebody, you're supposed to be 3 steps ahead and already know what you're gonna do, how you're gonna do it, and everything, And that's a lot of that is not being done in some of these situations. A lot of times these people, they're going into it a little bit overly aggressive, a little bit, not verbal judo in certain things, not talking people through certain things, and not just still trying to keep it at a level that they can control.
I don't like when people use the bad apple terminology or discussion, right? And I don't like the comparison either, right? You can't compare a cop to a pilot,
right?
But like it's deeper than just having a bad apple, right? It's a systemic issue, right? It is indeed a systemic issue, but the deeper problem is the nature of the job, right? The nature of the job is so dangerous that you can't just make any changes, right? And the changes that people are normally asking for are changes that will put, good officers in harm's way, right? We have to have an understanding of the system in order to make the effective changing, right? And the actual changing, it goes down to leadership. It does go down to training, right? It goes down to the societies that we live in, right? Like we it's like these worlds, right? We create these different worlds. We do it in the military, right? Security forces, right? We have this code to where it's like us against them, right? And the job of a police officer is so dangerous that they have to create that that brotherhood, that mentality in order to survive their day-to-day jobs, right? Especially if you go to those bad neighborhoods, right? Where obviously the problem is bigger because that's the higher urban population. But they've created a lifestyle, right? There's a line in the sand that's been drawn, right, between the police officer who suits up. He's like, hey, we got to help each other make it through the night, right? And then on the other side, the criminals, right? I don't condone what they're doing, but if we really break it down to the nature of life, they're just trying to survive and provide for themselves and their family too, right? And so both of these like communities see each other as a threat to their lifestyle and their survival. That's the deeper issue, right? How do we solve those two issues right there?
Well, the same kind of person that the military attracts, policing attracts. Like, you're gonna have those good people that are just good people in the military and the police and like law enforcement. But there's a lot of people in the military that's their thing. That's what they wanted to do, carry a gun and go deploy and stuff. Same thing with policing. You got a lot of guys that
they're calling.
Yeah, you're supposed to be moral in all your actions, but policing also brings a power.
Yeah.
Where I can go as fast as I want to go. I can move around traffic. I can tell you what to do. I can give you a ticket. I can arrest you. I can ruin your life. I can do whatever I want to do. And to a lot of people, power corrupts. And that's what's just going to happen. And then you got a lot of people that think a certain way about other groups of people. And I think in order to really change policing, they would have to like make it a detailed screening process to make sure you're getting like the right person.
Yeah.
But you get those guys that's been dreaming to be police officers their whole life. They might not like other groups of people. They do well on their PT test. They do well at the range. So they're deemed good cops, but then they're bad people. So, and you just gonna have those people anywhere. Like, I remember I used to have somebody, I forgot his name, man. He was one of the DAV guards. I think his name was Freddie or something. I forgot his name. But anyway, man, he was very confrontational, man. Like, I remember I had to go to an accident as a flight chief because he's getting in an argument with the fire chief fire chief was trying to treat the person that was at fault, but he wanted to arrest them before being treated. And he got in a screaming match. And we've all had those guys. We've all had those troops that we know they're going to give us a lot of tickets, but they're going to be out there being confrontational, starting stuff. And the first opportunity they had to do something to somebody that they didn't like or of another race, they do it. And I think it's probably more prevalent in the civilian world because you have the ability to treat people bad, and you have everybody backing you, judges backing you, the system backs you. So
yeah.
And then we gotta understand too that the job of policing is to enforce laws. It has nothing to do with serving the public. To protect and serve was a PR thing that they did years ago to build rapport. When they stopped doing community policing, because back in the day, police used to walk the beat and stuff. They build rapport. Well, they changed from that broken window theory, community policing, to being more active. So what they did is a PR plan where they said to protect and serve. They just put it on the police cars, where it still kind of built that community through like marketing. But their job is to enforce the laws on the books. It has nothing to do with the people. So as long as we understand that and we try to not call them as much as possible and try to understand their place in society. Their place in society is to keep us in check. Make sure we say what we're supposed to say, we do what we're supposed to do, and we're compliant. They're not there to help us and save us. Now, if we call and they're an opportunity to save us or help us, they'll do that based on the circumstance. But their job overall is to push them laws, write citations, build revenue for whatever county or state or city they're working for. It has very little to do with the people. We have to understand that.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like those two things go hand in hand, because at the same time you're enforcing the law, you know, like on the 16-year-old girl shooting. At the same time, you're enforcing the law and stopping this crime being done. You're helping the victim. You know what I'm saying? So you can't, you know, it's hard for when the people are looking at it, you know, the aggressor or the suspect is going to look at you as the one who's enforcing the law, but the victim is going to look at you as their savior. So you know, it's like it's hard to separate the two, you know. And so if you're going through life and you're not a predator, you're not like doing anything shady or criminalistic or anything like that, then you're going to look to the police as somebody that I can call for help, somebody who will help me in my time of need, somebody who is here for me. You know what I'm saying? If you're on the other side of the law, then you're going to look at them as, oh, I don't like cops or whatever reason or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to, it's going to be hard for certain people not to think of, you know, the police as even the criminal. You know what I'm saying? Like if they think a victim is going to call the cops, you know, like you got help. You're going to call the cops to come help you to keep me off of you or whatever, you know? Let me, did y'all see this one? Let me play this one real quick. It's kind of long. I don't know about just playing the whole thing. Let me see.
We know you've got your hands full of money.
I'm building a spaceship.
So Instacart is here to help make Roche.
You gotta share the screen.
Is it share?
Yeah.
Is it up?
Did you put share screen?
Yeah. Hold on.
Which children is this? Or?
Wait, what are you watching on?
What'd you say?
What channel you watching on? You on YouTube?
This is on. I mean, it should be going to both of them. Did the share screen didn't work? Did y'all see the other share screens?
No.
No,
You didn't see the Farrakhan? You didn't see none of them yet?
No, we just heard.
just heard it.
Oh,
What was the name of that video?
that was let me show you. I'll put it in a thing. Hold on. You see it in the chat? I'll put it in the private one. And then also, you know, even in our training, you know, they even though it's not part of it, there is a community policing thing, and you know, they will tell you go out and make friends and, you know, walk around neighborhoods and so on and so forth, because I mean, I guess that is to give the presence and to kind of win certain people over. So if something does go down, they can know who you are, you can know who they are, and so on and so forth. So in doing those types of things, it comes about to where, you know, even indirectly or just by default, you are, you know, and because that marketing plan worked so well.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got it? There it is.
What do y'all get in front of him talking like that? Rolling around about there were 3 police cars behind you for about 10 miles.
I know, but why?
Why? Because you were speeding. It was a simple traffic stop. All we had to do. I just checking. You turned it into this.
I'm on my way to a funeral.
Gosh. Where's your license at? Where's it at? Passenger side? Is this your car? Mr. AMS. Huh? She needs AMS. What's your name? Where's your person? Where's your license at? Where are your license at here? What now?
It's on Mississippi. Oh my God. No, Mississippi. On the side. Mississippi. Please.
Is this it right here?
Yes, it's in there. Oh my God. What did I do wrong?
How far was it?
I wasn't going that fast. I wasn't going that fast.
Honey, you had several miles to stop. Why didn't you stop?
Because I didn't know they were going after me.
Man, there was about 4 police cars behind you at one point in time. Did you ever realize that we were behind you and we wanted to stop?
Listening to my music and
I don't understand how they do it, George, but that's not how it's done here. Go to the patrol car right here.
Excuse me, please. Please, I need to take this off a minute. I'm in pain. My shoulder is up with trying to take up the cross. Oh, please. Can I go to my family?
So in the process, they took her rotator cuff and pulled her out by the hair and all of that for going to 10 miles over. Or so.
Well,
It's all about feeling with a piece of wood in front of.
but it doesn't show how long they were like if they were legitimately right pursuing her for 10 miles or however long they said, right, they had to
I
get
mean,
up.
but okay, so me, and you are pursuing this car, right? We got radios. I mean, at some point in time, if she's not stopping, you come on the radio, hey Stu, pull in front and slow down. You know what I'm saying? That way, just you said if you got 4 cars behind her pursuing her, one pull. He said, I think he said somebody pulled up beside her. He eventually used the spike strips to stop her. Like just pull up, slow down, and stop her.
It's a high risk traffic stop.
There's a high risk.
It's a high risk traffic stop.
It's not high risk yet.
What do you mean? They were pursuing her for 10 miles.
She didn't speed up. She didn't take off. She didn't go over 100.
They were pursuing her for 10 miles.
It doesn't matter. To me, that doesn't facilitate. I don't remember all the rules for high risk, but to me, that still does not just automatically elevate it to high risk because you don't know why this person's not. They haven't displayed any real hostility or aggression. They just didn't stop yet.
Well, and I think that's why they built the use of force continuum, because everything's so great. But if this person is active resistant, with a vehicle, which is
or is it passive resistance?
No, it's not passive.
No, it's active resistance.
If that person if that person's story is, I did not know. They're resisting, but they just didn't know. Whatever reason they were oblivious to it.
No, you would at least move over so they can pass you.
They will pass you.
You would at least move over so they can pass you.
So you think this old 66-year-old lady was just fuck the police?
Listen,
no.
So here's the problem. The problem right now is that the lens that everybody's viewing this from is that it was an old lady.
Old lady.
Right? Outside of it being an old lady, right, and feeling bad for her, they followed like some. Even after they handcuffed her, you can see that they sat her down, right, and they didn't do anything else to her other than making sure that she was in handcuffs, right? And according, at least I know if I was on the scene,
okay,
obviously before, I mean, I probably wouldn't be concerned with her being handcuffed. I'd probably search her, right, and make sure she ain't got no weapons, and then remove the handcuffs while we're calling EMS to check on her.
Okay.
But until they verify that this vehicle is clear, right, and it was legitimate that she didn't realize that they were stopping her, then
even when he stopped, you could when they said, "Ma'am, this could have been a simple traffic stop. Why'd you keep going?" Like this is the hard part of kind of seeing both sides.
Yeah, and she said she said she saw him.
Yeah,
this is the hard part.
I didn't know y'all was trying to stop me. But okay. So we go back to that. Okay, they're pursuing for 10 miles, 10 minutes, however long. Okay, it's high risk now. Whatever we use spike strips, we got you stopped, right? So at that point, you've got her stopped. If you perceive this as high risk, did you see any commands to let down your window, throw your keys out, put your hands out the window? Any steps to go through that to clear the car?
You don't have to do that. That's not necessarily.
If you feel like it's high risk, like you go in, you rush to the car, you lob and shoot in the face.
Those steps are taught, right, to achieve one objective: getting them out the vehicle as quickly and safely.
But if you think this is high risk,
whether they chose to do it verbally or physically, right, the objective of getting them out the vehicle quickly, right, was achieved, and I didn't see.
How many exercises have we ran where we were the flight chief and we didn't get out? We didn't get out the vehicle as the bad guy.
What you gotta do?
And what did we do? How many times did we get our uniforms messed up because we told our troops?
What was the input before that, though? What was the input before that? What input did you give to trigger them to pull you out?
Was there input? I mean, being resistant. Now, I think that video is we're not getting the full context.
Right.
Because the chase was going on long enough for them to get ahead of the vehicle and put out spike strips. Usually you don't deploy spike strips right away.
Not even just spike strips. You have four cop vehicles.
Yeah.
4 cop vehicles don't roll together.
Yeah.
Right? They had
Usually-
They might.
Yeah.
This is North Carolina, South Carolina. We don't know what they do over there. You know what I'm saying? They was all on the scene pretty much. It's kind of hard to get 4 cop vehicles to go down chase a vehicle down. You know what I'm saying? But this is the point. I mean, I get it, but hold on.
Yeah, that's another one, man. Bad publicity, yes. But
and this is where we get emotional because we don't know what that person had. We still don't know what the person had in their vehicle.
Right. And then
so it's like, why are they running?
And the truth is, right, the moment, that short moment that you might give them the benefit of the doubt because they're an older person or a kid or somebody disabled can be the difference maker, right? In your life being like.
And you kind of
I would be happy if my mother got pulled over and that happened to her either. But right when it comes to the perspective of the police officer chasing this person for 10 miles, they did their part, got out the vehicle, handcuffed, restrained her, right? And then they sat her down. Right? Sat her down, explained to her why they was there. Right? Everything happened.
Yeah, I think I wish more of the public could understand policing more, because the narrative is they're just coming to fuck you up. When if they're doing it looked like they were doing their job.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, look, this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not doing their job, but regardless of all of that, like from my experience, just from me, I'm saying, there is. I don't feel like they had to go that far that fast. Even with the elements that were prior to that, they didn't have to. We did what we're supposed to do.
They had to pop her tire to get her to stop.
But you could have dialed it back to level 5 or something else. You didn't have to go that far that fast.
But the moment, that short moment when you give somebody the benefit of the doubt, they're like, oh, because it's an old person, that could be the moment where your life gets fucked up. They had to pop her tire.
Opening the door and snatching that person out. You don't know who's in here. That person would have to run waiting on you
for her to stop. They had to pop her tire.
In
order for her to stop, they had to pop her tire.
It seemed like the moment.
Did we lose that?
I hope not.
Did we lose them?
It seemed like the moment they realized it was an older lady, they sat her up. They said, "Why did you run?" They even went and got her purse and said, "Where's your driver's license at?"
Right.
But in that moment, you do not know if the vehicle is going. You don't know if there's people in the vehicle. You don't know if she's. And even in that short clip, you could see them challenge the vehicle, because when the vehicle stopped, at least from the passenger side, the cop came out, he had the weapon out, and they approached the vehicle. But once we get to this vehicle, it's game on, because we don't know what's going on.
Right.
Once we figure out what's going on, then let's de-escalate and then figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Did you check out on this?
We lost set.
He drives this thing, so I don't know how to drive them.
Right. Yeah.
This seems like this is going to be one of those things where it's going to be it's hard to even it's even hard to like kind of give the other point of view, because automatically it's deemed bad. When it's like my question is this, not even, all right, the traffic stop, we just saw what we saw. But that was the News and Observer, the Charlotte News and Observer put that video together. And at the end, I think I seen like NC Central University. All these people put these things together. Nobody's putting anything together for little kids getting killed. Or people that, like, that's what I'm looking at. Is how do we, what's really going on? What's really going on where you want to distract me and take me over here to get mad about this?
I believe the same. right? And that's why, I said we don't have any media that we control, right? Because the only things that we're able to get upset about are the things that we see. I'm more concerned about the things we don't see. Even in politics, when I see, they focus on the president doing this and doing that, I'm like, what are the things that he's doing that we not seeing?
Mm-hmm.
But hey, fellas, I got to get rolling. We're about to have an event here.
Yes, we've been on the hour and 25. I appreciate the conversation. It's all good. Like I like to, that's what it's here for, to try to get, as far as many of the opinions and questions that's going to be asked out there and the different points of view on these scenarios. So, of course, that's what the conversation is all about. I appreciate y'all. Any last thoughts, Stu? Last thoughts, P?
I'll let P go.
Man, I feel like we need to come together. We need to figure out, like the video said, Minister Louis Farrakhan, figure out how to connect the masses to the heads and the leaders, and the strategy that really gets us moving, and not just the things that appease us for the moment, but the things that will implement and impact lasting change. So
what is that?
Yeah. And I just want us to understand, if we're seeing something, if we're being allowed to see something and be emotional and expressive about something, it's because they put that out there. They put that narrative in front of our face to keep us emotional, to keep us distracted on what we really should be worried about.
Right. Good talk about that. You know what I'm saying? And last thoughts. We presented you with those who watched in, those who tuned in, join it, share it. We presented you with playing devil's advocate, trying to look at all different views of everything, you know what I'm saying? And, just take it to heart. The bottom line is, let's all come together and have these conversations. It's all good. Start off with the kids. Keep your mind focused on what's really going on and what it is that's being presented in front of you, so that you don't be led astray and blinded, So we appreciate y'all for joining the Flight Chief's office. With that being said, we out.
Yeah, peace.